Sam Magavern from the Partnership for the Public Good, or PPG, which unites 276 community organizations working to build a better Buffalo. Delighted to be joining you every Tuesday at 7 p.m. here on Power 96.5 FM and Mix 1080 AM. Today we'll be joined by India Walton from Open Buffalo. We'll be talking about marijuana policy at the local and state level. Don't forget to follow PPG on Facebook and Twitter, and of course you can always get great information on our website, ppgbuffalo.org. The Public Good is sponsored in part by Univera Healthcare, real people who really care. You can find video from this show on our Facebook page, and you can find video from previous week's shows on our YouTube channel. Before we get started, a couple of quick announcements for you. On this Friday, May 4th at PPG, we'll be offering a presentation at 10 a.m. on how banks can fight poverty. If you're interested in issues like the unbanked, people who do not have access to checking accounts, people who are relying on payday loans because they can't get small loans from their bank, people who are still renting because they're unable to access first-time homebuyer loans, those are the kind of issues we'll be talking about this Friday, 10 a.m. at PPG, how banks can fight poverty. You can find out more information about that and how to register for this free and open event on our website, ppgbuffalo.org. Also want to let you know that our friends at Coalition for Economic Justice are organizing a bus to Albany as part of the Poor People's Campaign. That's going to happen on May 14th. So if you're interested in going to Albany and helping lift up the issues of poverty here in Buffalo, in New York State, and around the nation, that is going to happen May 14th. You can find out more information about that from the Coalition for Economic Justice. Check out their website or their Facebook page to find out how to get on the bus as part of the Poor People's Campaign. All right, with that, I want to welcome India Walton to the show from Open Buffalo. Thanks for being here, India.
Thanks for having me.
Before we get to talk about marijuana policy, I just wanted to ask you to explain to our listeners the People's Platform event that's taking place tomorrow at 5:30. What is going on at the People's Platform?
Sure. The People's Platform is a follow-up to the State of Our City that was held at the Buffalo Central Library last month. And that was a response to the State of Our City address, where many Buffalonians don't feel like they've shared in the prosperity of the renaissance of Buffalo. So we got together to just create a vision of the Buffalo that we want to see, a Buffalo that's more just and equitable for all people. So the People's Platform is where we will gather and really tamp down our 3 policy priorities for each of the campaigns of the People's Platform: housing, education, transportation, immigration, and criminal justice.
All right, so folks can actually help vote for, craft, form the People's Platform tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at SEIU 1199, which is located around Main and Jewett. Great event, and I'm sure you can find out more about that from social media and online, but urge you to check out the People's Platform tomorrow evening. All right, India, so you've been working hard on some drug policy reform and particularly around marijuana issues here in Buffalo and around the state. Tell us why Open Buffalo cares about marijuana reform. How did that become a priority for you all?
Sure. So at Open Buffalo, we really see marijuana reform as a social, racial, and economic justice issue. We know that historically, Blacks and brown people are arrested at higher rates for possession of marijuana, even though we use slightly less than white people. But as we've noticed trends nationwide toward legalization, we really wanted to be thoughtful about how prohibition is ended and make sure that not only are we creating economic opportunities for Black and brown people to participate in, but also that we're redressing a lot of the harms that have been done to poor people and communities of color due to the failed war on drugs.
So you mentioned that people of color get arrested more for marijuana possession, and we released a study on that last year. I think we found that in the city of Buffalo, it was something like 6 or 7 times as many arrests of people of color as whites, even though, as you mentioned, there's lots of national research to show that people across different races use marijuana at a very similar amounts. So what's going on there? Why are people of color getting arrested so much more often for marijuana possession than whites?
So there's this thing called Stop, Question, and Frisk that was sort of made popular by what happened in New York City, but that style of broken windows policing is very common all across the country. And especially in Buffalo, the odor of marijuana gives police justifiable cause to stop someone, search them, and question them. And even though marijuana was decriminalized in New York State in 1977, meaning that possession of quantities less than 25 grams in private is not a crime, once it is in public view, it's now an arrestable offense that really escalates any interaction between people and police. So when people are stopping young people and asking them to empty their pockets, and they may have a small quantity of marijuana, now it gives them cause to arrest them, jail them, question them, and look for the commission of other crimes and things like that.
Yeah, I think when we did our report, there were two kind of shocking things. One was the racial disparities, but two is just the quantity of arrests that still get made for marijuana possession when, as you mentioned, it was decriminalized over 40 years ago. So for something that really shouldn't be a crime, it's incredible that we're arresting hundreds of people for it every year here in Buffalo. And as you know, we released a bail report last week, and some of those, many of those low-level drug offenses are leading to people getting assigned pretty high bail amounts that they're unable to pay, so they're sitting in the holding center over marijuana possession, which is so damaging to them, their families, their communities in so many ways. So you've identified this issue, but you've also identified some solutions. So at the local level, what's the campaign to change how the city is dealing with marijuana issues?
Sure. So what we noticed as a part of the report from November was that even though marijuana arrests overall are trending down, the disparities continue to persist. So the campaign is called the Lowest Law Enforcement Priority, or LLEP. And what we're asking is that Commissioner Lockwood of the Buffalo Police just make low-level marijuana possession the lowest law enforcement priority. So if a person is in possession of a small quantity of marijuana and they haven't committed any other crime or offense, that they're not arrested for that. They can be cited, or the police should even use their discretion, and just let the person go, because
just say, move along, make sure you don't use this in public.
Right.
And the police have that discretion already. Police have a ton of discretion about whether or not to arrest people. I think some people might think, if the police see something that's technically illegal, they have to arrest, and that's simply not true. They have abundant discretion to decide what's the best use of their time and their resources.
Right.
So you're asking the commissioner to tell all police officers, look, this is our lowest level priority. You've got more important things to do than arrest people for marijuana. Absolutely.
And we also feel like that'll go a long way to establishing a better rapport between the police and community, because people are afraid, I know people who won't even say hello to the police because what is it going to lead to? So, if I have a small quantity of marijuana on me and I'm afraid to be near you, I'm definitely not going to talk to you about any other crimes that may have been committed, or, there's just this divide in the relationship. So if people are not afraid that they're going to be accosted and searched for something that's so trivial, then I think that will go a long way to kind of bolstering the trust between the police and the community also.
Has this happened other places? Have other police departments said that they're going to make marijuana their lowest level enforcement priority? Do you know?
Yeah, so there are some cities across the nation that have LLEP policies, and it escapes me which ones specifically now, but we've looked at model legislations from other cities, but none recently.
Yeah.